The following program is brought to you by Arlington Community Media, where we tell your story. Parents, teachers, and staff members at Minuteman tell their school committee what they think about the ongoing problem with the school superintendent currently on leave and the principal she reportedly was planning to fire. We have reaction from some Arlington parents. A rededication ceremony is held at the brand new Hurd baseball field, a state-of-the-art baseball diamond with a storied past. We'll have a report from Arlington's new Field of Dreams. And that unsightly, hideous, and potentially dangerous pole at Mass Ave across from the Walgreens. When will it ever go away, you ask? Well, it went quietly into the night. Do you believe it? Yeah, neither do we. But it did. ACMi News is next.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count, from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
As we've been reporting, the superintendent of the Minuteman Regional Vocational Technical High School in Lexington is currently on administrative leave. This in the wake of the uproar regarding the planned dismissal of the school's popular principal, George Clement, and scores of other complaints against the superintendent. Hello, I'm Katie Chang.
Hello, and I'm Paul Werlin. Thanks so much for joining us. The school committee made the decision to place Superintendent Dr. Kathleen Dawson on administrative leave on May 11th in a closed-door session. Since then, there have been petitions demanding Dawson's removal and even student walkouts. On Thursday, May 25th, the school committee held a public meeting where parents, teachers, and staff vented their frustration, and vent they did.
I am here in support of Minuteman students and staff and join them in voicing concerns about the ability of Dr. Dawson to effectively serve as superintendent based on a number of her actions, including the choice to not renew Principal Clement's contract. Hearing that teachers were being asked to do even more outside the purview of their contracts by Dr. Dawson without going through the proper channels to negotiate these changes is not good leadership. Ms. Maynard's statement to the school committee about Dr. Dawson's demand for a student to take a test long after the term had ended is concerning and shows Dr. Dawson's lack of professional respect for staff, along with not understanding what it truly means to educate and motivate students.
I'm really alarmed at what has transpired here at Minuteman over the last 9 months. I'm the recent president of the Minuteman Parent Association from 2020 to 2023. And I had the opportunity to observe Mr. Clement and Dr. Dawson in their respective roles. Minuteman has always had challenges fostering community and cohesion because of the nature of the geography. As the Minuteman president throughout the pandemic, I worked closely with the administration to participate in and help lead changes to improve communication and build trust with the parent community. What happened here over the past 9 months with Dr. Dawson blew that trust out of the water, and it squandered tremendous community that we worked hard to build, and I'm upset about it.
In addition, I also want to bring up what actually Shelley brought up as well around the school committee. I want to understand how she was chosen. And I want, what my question is, and I understand you can't discuss personnel details. I'm a manager myself, and I get that. But I would like from this investigation an understanding of the, not just what has happened, but an investigation of how she was chosen and what that process was and where the holes were and how it happened, so that when you're going forward, you have a different process, because clearly that was a failed process and it needs to change. So that is the communication in addition to all the other things people have mentioned, but that is the communication that also needs to happen. And it needs to happen, as was said, before the next school year.
That petition to oust Dr. Dawson and support Principal George Clement now exceeds 2,000 signatures. ACMi News has reached out to the offices of both Clement and Dawson numerous times. So far, no response. If anything changes in this ongoing story, you'll find the latest information on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ACMi News. Again, that's facebook.com/ACMi News.
Arlington held its Memorial Day ceremony on May 29th at the Town Hall Auditorium. This solemn event featured the Arlington Police and Fire Honor Guards, the Boston Skyline Chorus, several town leaders, and keynote speaker Major General William Rapp of Arlington. More than 100 area residents turned out to pay their respects to those Americans who fought for this country and never came home.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
Well, I'll tell you, at least in Massachusetts, at least several times a week, somebody sees me in my ball cap that says VFW on it. And people treat me to stuff. I'll go into a bar, have a beer, be about to leave, and they'll say, oh, someone already took care of it, sir, because you're a vet. And I'll tell you what, it means a lot to a lot of people. I know that. Because not just shopping the sales, but also because of what people say and do that I personally experience. We remember, and it always amazes me when we go to lay wreaths at Mount Pleasant Cemetery, at every gravesite area that's dedicated to a war, and how many wars I've been in, and how many people we've lost. It's quite something.
This federal holiday was set aside to honor those that gave their lives so that we could live free and celebrate this weekend and so many others with friends and family. So many that I served with, that I knew very personally, weren't able to come back to their families. Their families still struggling to figure out what to do as they move forward. But it's our duty to just be sure that they are not forgotten, that we remember them on this day and on all days, because the freedoms that we enjoy came to us through their service and sacrifice.
Believe me, I'm all one for a nice 3-day weekend. But yes, this is in honor of all the guys that made our 3-day weekend possible. So I hope that everybody can have a good weekend. But today, pause, think about all those men and women that have died to protect our freedom and make this day possible.
It's this idea that enjoy your day and just take a small moment to remember that this day isn't just given freely, that there were sacrifices involved that got us to this day. But don't ever begrudge the fact that you're having a wonderful time with your family, because that's why those young men and women served.
The town hall event was followed by the traditional wreath-laying ceremony at Mount Pleasant Cemetery.
You may already know that Arlington's Director of Veteran Services has retired from his duties here in town. Monday's Memorial Day event was Jeffrey Chunglow's last before leaving for Delaware to be closer to friends and family. Still, and this is great news, there's a good chance we will see Jeff back here in the Arlington area in the future. There's a pet project of Jeff's that has yet to be completed. Chunglow's still working to update Arlington's honor roll, the list of all the veterans that you can currently find in the town center. Before leaving for the first state, Jeff gave us the latest on plans to update the town's honor roll.
On the town website, on the Department of Veteran Services page, there is a link to the honor roll. And we've posted all the rosters from World War II to present. And people can go check and see if their name is there. There is a form if you're not on the honor roll, you can apply. Or especially if your name is spelled wrong, and we want to correct all those issues before we put everything in granite. But That window will be open probably until next June, because we want to definitely get the word out and have ample time for people to go and check the information. The other unique thing that we're doing is we're including Guard and Reserve personnel, and other towns don't do that. So, I think if you have joined the Guard or Reserves and just by happenstance you serve during a period of peacetime, doesn't diminish your service at all. So they should be included as well.
And there's going to be a planned dedication anyway for what date, and what are your plans for that dedication when it arises?
Yeah, we're hoping maybe next Veterans Day 2024. So, a lot depends on construction and all those different limitations, but it would be great if that would be the case, and I would certainly attend.
It's always great to see Jeff back in town anytime. If you want to know more information on Arlington's honor roll, just go to the town website, arlingtonma.gov/veterans. Again, that's arlingtonma.gov/veterans.
Arlington police say 2 people were treated at area hospitals after they were struck by a vehicle at the Stop and Shop parking lot at 905 Mass Ave. The crash happened at roughly 10:15 a.m. on Saturday, May 27th, and involved several pedestrians and 2 vehicles. First responders found several people injured in the parking lot, and Arlington police and firefighters immediately began providing medical care. The 2 pedestrians, a 61-year-old Arlington woman and a 70-year-old man from Randolph, rushed to Burlington's Leahy Hospital and Medical Center in critical condition. Police say the driver of this Mercury sedan is an 87-year-old Belmont man. He reportedly was pulling into the Stop and Shop parking lot and struck this white Ford and this wall of the building. Police say the driver then reversed his car, hitting several pedestrians. The motorist was treated at the scene, then transported to an area hospital. No word on whether he will face any charges.
Practically everyone knows about that hideous double pole at Adams Street and Mass Ave. It's been there for years. Why do we have double poles? Well, when an old utility pole outlives its usefulness, a new pole is placed alongside of it. All the wires are transferred from the old pole to the new one, and then the old pole is carted off to pasture within a 90-day period. But that wasn't the case with that awful double pole at Adams and Mass Ave. It was likely going to hang around forever. But as Jeff Barn found out, miracles do occur.
No one quite knows just how many years this double pole at Adams Street and Mass Ave has been slowly deteriorating, or maybe becoming a contemporary work of art. But for years, it was getting on the nerves of Select Board member Steve DeCourcy. This is Steve in 2021.
I raised the question about double poles, and one in particular that had troubled me was on Mass Ave.
And this was Steve in 2022.
This Adams Street pole is an extreme pole, and it's an embarrassment that it's there and it's unsafe.
And, well, Steve in 2023.
This pole gets worse and worse, and the fact that they went out there again to change what was a more secure connection to a piece of rope, or a little bit stronger than a piece of rope, but it's tied, I think is absolutely ridiculous.
And yet this monstrosity held its ground. So, to get the word out, this was us in 2021. A new pole is brought in and hitched to the old pole so that the new pole props the old pole up. That's supposed to be temporary. And this was us in 2022. The old pole here, ow! Thank goodness there's a Walgreens across the street. Where was I? And still. Then just this last week, the town manager sent a letter to Verizon. And anticipating that letter, ACMi News called Verizon. And wouldn't you know it? Yeah, sometime on either May 26th or May 27th, Verizon must have sent out its crackerjack fleet of trucks, dug some holes, restrung its wires, and paid its army of crew members OT to give Arlington a new shiny pole made of sturdy southern pine.
Well, Jeff, I was driving down Mass Ave on Saturday, and I tend to look over at that pole just to see if anything's happened. And to my great shock and surprise, the double pole has been replaced. So sometime this week after our meeting, town manager sent a letter to Verizon. I think ACMi contacted Verizon as well. And between those efforts, the pole is gone. So they can get it done.
But why so long? See, according to State General Laws, Chapter 164, Section 34B, a distribution company or a telephone company engaging in the removal of an existing pole and the installation of a new pole in place thereof shall complete the transfer of wires, all repairs, and the removal of the existing pole from the site within 90 days from the date of installation of the new pole. So there you have it. You just heard it. The installation of a new pole thereof. It's the thereof part that makes it sound very official. So, to take the old pole away takes 90 days after the new one has been installed. This Adams Street pole has been on the town's radar since early 2020, and that's a conservative estimate. So let's say January 1st, 2020. We're recording this on May 30th, 2023. That's 1,245 days. Minus, mind you, the 90 days thereof. That comes out to 1,155 days late. Good Lord, how many poles are there in this town?
We're down to 77 now, and we've got a few that we're really concerned about, but we're still going to ask Verizon for quarterly meetings and look for progress every 6 months from now.
So for fun, let's take 1,155 days times 77 individual poles using the Adams Street case as an example. 77 times 1155 equals 88,935. Divided by 365, ignoring the leap years, comes out to 243.6 years. And that's if no other pole acts up. But hey, let's not fret over the mathematics, shall we? Let's just celebrate the baby steps. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.
So what's the next hideous pole that Steve DeCourcy wants removed? Well, it's the one at 108 Warren Street. You can see just by this makeshift configuration, it's tough to get around for pedestrians. ACMi News has already made a call regarding that pole. We will indeed keep you updated.
The Cyrus Dallin Art Museum is paying homage to Arlington's storied past with a series of tours all summer long. How many of us pass by some of this town's historic landmarks without knowing the full story? This is a tour you don't want to miss, and you clearly don't have to travel far or break the bank. Here's museum board member Jerry Tremblay to tell us more.
So one of our directors, Andrew J., put together an Arlington Center walking tour. It includes sculptures and monuments within the area of the center. We've been doing this for 2 or 3 years. It's been quite successful. We usually have a nice number of people attend. We start here in front of the Jefferson Cutter House and the Dallin Museum, and we talk about the house and about Cyrus Dallin. We walk down to the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial, and then we come back up the avenue. We go to the Uncle Sam's Plaza. We go across the street to Robbins Memorial Library. We stop at the Whittemore Robbins House. We go to the Minuteman Hunter in the town garden, the Flagstaff on the far side of the town hall, and we finished at Citizens Bank because they have a very nice Art Deco frieze on the Mass Ave side and on the Court Street side. So it takes about an hour and a half. We always have a very pleasant group asking questions, very casual. It's costs us $10, and you can register at the Dallin website.
The next tour will be held on Thursday, June 29th. The time to get your tickets is now. And the website again is dallin.org. Again, dallin.org.
Arlington now has a baseball field on Drake Road that gives Fenway Park a run for its money. On Thursday, May 25th, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held to rededicate the Walter G. Hurd Memorial Field. This field has been transformed from a poorly maintained, rundown diamond to a marvelous state-of-art baseball playing field. The Hurd family and their ties to the game of baseball is legendary, which made this event so very special. ACMi News Director Jeff Barnes reports several Hurd family members were on hand for this very emotional ribbon-cutting ceremony.
They were once known as the Hurd Family Nine, an Arlington semi-pro team comprised of Herbert C. Hurd and his 8 sons, Arthur, Frederick, Charles, Herbert S., Franklin, John, Carlton, and Walter. All 9 barnstormed New England during the 1930s. According to town records, the Hurd Family Nine is believed to be the only semi-professional outfit to be comprised entirely of immediate family members. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, 5 of the 8 Hurd boys answered the call and fought in the Second World War. The youngest, Walter, was killed in action. And in 1968, what was Reservoir Field was renamed the Walter G. Hurd Field in his memory. And now that this field has been redone, from home plate to center field and way beyond, those memories are still being made.
Thank you all for coming. My name's John Hurd. For those that don't know me, I'm currently the Vice Chair of the Arlington Select Board, and much more importantly, I'm the manager of the AAA Dodgers team that's playing here today. It was a relief when a few years ago the Community Preservation Committee came before the Select Board and told us that they had in the queue a full renovation of Hurd Field. They funded it. The amazing Parks and Recreation Department and Parks and Recreation Commission shepherded this project along with town staff. And the result is what we see here today. And we really couldn't be more pleased as a select board member, as a member of the Hurd family, and as an Arlington baseball parent with the end result of this field. It's really amazing.
It's actually, as John, my son, mentioned, it's the 5th generation are here today throwing the ball out. They're a little bit younger, but starting with my grandfather on down. So further on than that, but in my lifetime, the 5th generation. So it's really neat.
And everything you see is brand new. And many of the speeches you may have heard were people speaking about growing up and coming to Hurd Field and just kind of a dilapidated, situation up here, and it totally looks different. And so to have the younger generation playing up here, right now we're seeing the Dodgers versus the Giants right here, for them to be able to experience this and play on a beautiful field, thanks to the work of so many people from Park and Rec to our elected officials and most importantly our appointed officials. It's just a terrific celebration. And the Hurd family has given so much to this community over the years, to celebrate one of the Hurd family's war heroes and what he meant to the town of Arlington and what it means to be able to rededicate this field decades and decades after we originally did it is just a terrific celebration.
That just brings tears to my eyes. Our whole Hurd family is very much involved with community and giving back to people and the world, and certainly serving their country. So I can't think of a better way to honor him than to make this beautiful park even better than what it was. It sounds like it wasn't very good, but I didn't see it back when it was awful. But it's gorgeous now. And my mom's in a wheelchair, so to hear that it's also friendly for the disabled, it's very sweet. They really thought of everything here. So I'm honored to be here. I was actually here on a work trip. And my cousin sent me an email and said, I was leaving for Seattle this morning, and said they're going to dedicate it tonight. And said, well, I'm changing my flight. I got to be here. This is history in the making. So I'm just honored to be here.
We're proud of our family history, and certainly Our history is similar to many other Arlington residents, but the Walter Hurd, who this is named after, did a lot of amazing things, and it's certainly a well-deserved honor. And I'm happy that I was able to play here growing up, and now my sons are able to play here. And so it is a big day. It's very, very exciting.
Play ball. The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum has recognized the Hurd Family Nine and its unique part of baseball history and accepted one of the 3 remaining Hurd Family Nine jerseys into its archives to be rotated on display at the Baseball Hall of Fame. How cool is that? And what a legacy this family leaves behind. And even if you're not into baseball, you must come down here. This is a state-of-the-art ball field. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.
The Hurd Family Nine ball team is just one notable link to the Hurd's long connection to town since 1892.
You've noticed that there are no commercials on our broadcast. That's because we're a cable access TV station. But did you ever wonder how we make money for broadcasts like this? Well, Arlington receives revenue from cable services, and then the town disperses that money to support Arlington Community Access Television, ACMi. The topic of supporting ACMi was recently brought up during a town meeting. ACMi President and town meeting member John Leone laid out a pretty convincing case at the May 10th meeting as to why ACMi is an important town square for all of Arlington residents.
ACMi provides invaluable, John Leone, Precinct 8. ACMi provides invaluable services to the town of Arlington. We provide the select board meetings for your watching benefit at home. We provide this for your watching benefit at home. We provide at the high school, we have a little sub-studio that we use to train the students who wish to learn about audio-visual and the latest technologies for cable casting, for broadcasting. We also provide training for interns from some of the various colleges in the area. Our studio and our training is highly sought after among colleges, and those colleges send children to Arlington. We also provide training for the high school kids and the middle school children in the latest television cameras, latest technology, latest editing.
Okay, and the news broadcasts, and you have educational programs for adults too, right?
Yes, we do. Anybody can come down and become a member. I believe the membership fee is $40, Michael?
$50 last time.
$50? Okay, it's $50. And if you can't afford it, we make an accommodation for you. So we'll train anybody on how to use the equipment, meaning the cameras, we have drones, they can use the drones. We'll train them how to use it. And then the editing suites, we'll train you how to use the suites. So you can do a program. So whatever you want to do, you can do it. If it's of prurient interest, we're going to show it at 2 o'clock at night so we don't offend anybody, but we have to show it. The FCC makes us show everything that anybody comes up with.
And we are pleased to report that the money will keep coming our way for the time being. Town meeting voted overwhelmingly on Article 34 to support us by a vote of 209-1.
That'll do it for us this week here at ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Katie Chang. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.